Alright guys, well somehow I've moved to Seattle and it's decided to rain all the time here. Back over at Cassone's RV in Mesa, Arizona, and we have a Winnebago roof that we're gonna have to do, even though it's raining. I'll try to get in a bay. So at first look, it doesn't look too bad, but if we come over here, you can see this big patch of tape, and that entire roof split right there. I don't know if you can see how spider crack that is there. And then if we come down here, you can kind of see a puddle up there too, because this is all loose also. You can kind of see where the water's pooling right there. Same with right up here. I think, yeah, so wish you guys could see that better, but that entire roof is loose too. It's kind of easy to see this channel. The ceiling that was supposed to hold the entire roof in no longer exists. I can probably pull this out because I shouldn't be able to push my finger in like that. There's no sealant on this side. You can see actually the front cap is loose too. I'm sure it's leaking water inside. Then we have pretty much the same thing over here. If we can follow that trail of dirt all the way to the skylight, that's loose the entire way too. So I think we had some issues. Look on this side, we have duct tape holding it too. So let's see. Now I have found duct tape to be a pretty decent repair as far as keeping the roof from falling off, but yeah, that sealant's gone again. Now I haven't talked to the customer about it completely. We missed each other yesterday when he dropped off, but I would guess the edge just popped up because it wasn't sealed down. That's why I tried to reiterate how important that gutter seal is on Winnebagos. It's gonna be that one right there. Now on these white roofs, like I said, they use a Magnus bond. It's a white urethane, but you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see how milky my fingertips are. It falls apart after about 5 to 10 years in the sun. It just turns to powder. Winnebago doesn't stress how important that is, and none of the dealers do either. So, trying not to kill myself up here on the wet surface. But yeah, this roof's buckled right there too. And yeah, you can see. Let's see. There's some of that Magnus bond right there. I just scraped it off with my fingernail. So, 2003 Sunova. It's not a big guy, but we'll go ahead and get it started. We're gonna go ahead and do a few upgrades to it at the time. I did notice the skylight has a crack on it right there. I'm concerned by that. I'll see what the customer wants to do on that. And of course we have Dicor right here, which of course we should know by now, Dicor does not stick to silicone, stick to any of that. So if whoever installed this would have just cut off all that silicone, cleaned it up, that Dicor would have worked just fine. But unfortunately it didn't. You can see how much dirt's getting in there because it's not sealing. I don't know if the roof is rotten right there. Luckily this is an Arizona coach, so it doesn't get too much rain. I say ironically. But let me go ahead and start tearing it apart on the inside. I've done this many times. There's really no reason to see it. Just take all the vent trims, AC covers off from the inside, and we'll start disconnecting the front cap and tear this roof apart. But of course, first things first, I'm gonna have to find a bay to this go in so I'm not tracking dirt inside. So what I'm gonna do is take the vents off, AC off, skylight off, and one more vent, then take the front cabinet apart in order to take the front cap off. So we'll do that real fast. All right, with that, everything should be loose. We got all the screws holding the front cap. Oh, let's see, hold the front cap on right down there in those tabs, and then on the roof right up above. One thing I have left to do is going to be the TV antenna, or the radio antenna. So that's all loose, but I wanted to show you guys this. I'll turn the flash off so you guys can see better. So we're just popping in the cabinet here on the passenger side. See all that daylight coming in? That's from the outside at the roof where it meets, the front cap meets the radius. It's gapped that bad all the way around. I'm surprised there's not a lot more water coming in. But you should be able to see a trail of dirt that does come in on that rail at the top. See if I can't touch it. It's hard for me to get my arm back there. Right there, so the desert's been coming in. In fact, you can see more of the desert right there. There you go. Outside and start working on taking the outside apart. Now luckily the rain stopped, so I'll take this ladder off, I'll take the rear cap off, actually climb on the roof and start doing some real work. Also on the front right here, I take the valance panels out the windshield and the rubber trim across the top. Now there's a Winnebago laminated Phylon roof. It is a seamless fiberglass roof, but it is Phylon. It's not true gel coat fiberglass. I have a number of videos about these roofs and how they're built and how they're made. So I won't do a complete rundown on it, but I will try to show you guys if I find anything. First thing we'll do is take all the components off the roof and start ripping the roof apart. Alright, so let me get the rest of this stuff taken off and we'll start tearing the roof apart and see what we find. Just like all the other ones. Now it's time to rip the Phylon off. Phylon being the white material, which is the roof material itself, which is just sidewall material. It's fiberglass, technically, just not normal fiberglass. But now we just strip it off there. Whenever you are lined up. Alright. Nice. Alright, and with that, the old roofing material is off. And we are going to be replacing this deck, this Luan material too, so I'm not too worried about its condition. There was definitely water intrusion here. Come over to this side, there was some water intrusion, not a lot. And definitely around the AC, we were leaking. Not a lot, but enough. Around where the satellite dish was, it definitely was leaking there and there. Pretty much the roof tells a pretty good story. You can see where it stuck and where it didn't stick. Alright, it's time to start the next phase of the project, which is going to be to replace the decking. This is that 1/8 inch 4x4 Luan plywood. And because everybody always asks me in every video what kind of paneling, I call it 1/8 inch Luan paneling. They call it 2.7 millimeter utility plywood. Millimeters with feet. That makes sense. Luckily, the lumber apocalypse didn't raise it too much. We're going to do one section at a time. It should pill up pretty easily. If you watch my other videos, sometimes it fights me, but eventually it gets there. And then we'll glue one down, pull the next one up, glue one down, pull the next one up, glue one down. So let me get one up and we'll take a look. It'll peel off okay, one at a time. I mean, it's definitely a lot easier with both hands and not a camera in your hand. All right. Okay, so with that panel off, now you can see where the wire runs are, because they used to use a CNC router to make all these wire runs for the 12 volt and 110. The AC goes right here, so I can't even really step right here without moving everything because there's no structure. These little guys right there I pointed out before, they just keep the roof from collapsing as you tighten up the bolts to the AC. This is not tubing. That just keeps the duct from collapsing. Same old fare again. We got Stabon 440 and Stabon 183. 183 will be foam to wood, so we don't melt the foam. And then 440 will be wood to fiberglass. So we'll do contact adhesive, spray this side, spray the other side of this, glue it down, next panel, next panel, next panel, and then hopefully we'll get to the next space. Alright, so that one's glued. Now we have to glue the foam. Alright, so we've got both sides glued, paneling, and the foam. Now we'll just put it together and repeat this process the entire length of the roof. So we got that glued down. We're going to roll it out, make sure it bonds. And if I come over here and grab it, it's not coming up by lifting up on it like So that's a good sign. We'll cut off all the excess at the end, but just a few more panels to go. All right, just like that, it's done. Much easier in editing. With all the new decking's on there, I still have to cut the edges to size, but next step. And there's my saw. Now it's time to put the fiberglass back down. It's the scariest part, my least favorite part. All right, well, we got it laid out. We're ready to glue it. We're going with the Stay-Bond 440 contact adhesive. Just roll it out, glue both sides through the wood, through the Phylon. Well, the good news is we're still on center. A little less than halfway, but we're getting there. It's looking pretty good. I mean, my hands are kind of a casualty there, but it's my own fault. All right, with that, this roof is on. Now we just have to tuck the corners and put it back together. Now, of course, just like every time, I always have to inspect the interlocking roof to make sure these screws didn't back out like they did. So that's a little bit extra work that I didn't plan on doing, but other than that, we're doing well. Now, before I cut and tuck this side, I do have some more screws on that side I have to tighten up and or replace, just like that one right there is stripped out. So let me do all that. Then I still have to put the foam in. That's what we got up on top. Okay, well, the good news is both sides have been tucked in. So now it's just about rebuilding the roof again. There won't be anything too different about this. So I won't really take you through the entire process. I'll just be cutting holes where the sewer vents go, right there. We'll be upgrading to vent fans, or the vent fan deluxe, whatever they are. And we are going to change out the ACs to a different AC. But other than that, it's going to be pretty much similar stuff, so I won't worry about that. Just like always, putting a nice bead of Sikaflex underneath the front cap. Now, unlike Winnebago, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 screws right there to help secure this front cap. Because even though we're secured on the top, this needs to go down and in a little bit to squish everything out. That should hopefully seal up everything on the side too. There you go. Now they're white. I feel pretty good about this now. Put that cap on there. The other side will go the exact same way. When it's all said and done, we go back inside, we don't see any light coming in like it was before. All right, guys, I'm pretty pleased with the way all this turned out so far. We are upgrading the AC from the Coleman to the Furion 15, but we did find something out weird on it. I'm really unhappy with the way this gasket is gapped, and this is at the very front. So I don't like that. I'm going to change out this gasket, which is strange because it's a brand new AC. I am still waiting for the skylight to come in, so I still have to cut that out, but I don't want to cut that out just in case I do have to move the RV outside. And I still haven't sealed the gutter track yet, mostly because when I cut that out, that sealant stays tacky for a little while, and I don't like getting sawdust trapped in it, but I might still have to do that. But overall, I am really pleased how the roof came out. Need to make sure I got the rear of this roof locked down. We're getting a lot of storms here in Arizona for summer. Our monsoon's been pretty strong. All right, I'm just making a mark where the rear cap's gonna go. I'll just put a bead here. You be generous with it because I want to make sure that it seals. So I'm just gonna put the inside together, and hopefully the gasket for the AC shows up while I'm doing that. And then I'll start working on everything else. Guys, before I put this front cabinet area back together, let's take a look inside and see if we can see some light coming from up there. Probably won't be easy with the flash on. Let me turn the flash off. I think I do see light coming in. Alright, any light you see coming in is coming from the Phylon. The Phylon is a bit translucent at the top, at the radius, but where we were looking was down in this area down here. I'm not seeing light coming in there anymore. That's good. Let's take a look at the other side. Alright, so we're going on this side. Now this side isn't on the sun side. Yeah. Yeah, you can still see it coming through the phylon a little bit right up there. That's just the translucency of this phylon itself, not on the radius. So no light coming out like it was before. No, the rain in Arizona has just been relentless. It's been testing out my new roof pretty well. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Now because this AC gasket is so spread open right there, I want to replace this one even if it's brand new. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace this one, which is silly, but alright, well there's a new one. It was very unimpressive so far. I've heard good things about Furrion. I haven't had to fix a single one of them. It's just, that's not a good way to start, huh? I just replaced the roof and I don't want the AC to leak right into my new roof. Alright, now we'll put the AC on. That's one of the last components to put on this thing. Furrion actually has an adapter so we can plug this straight into the controller for the Coleman without having to change the thermostat or the AC controller. So that's just going to plug in right there. Called the Furrion Chill Conversion Kit. Comes with some spacer blocks too in case your mounting bolts don't line up where they're supposed to. But mine did. So that's good. All I have to do now is find a place to put this. I got to cut the tabs off here and I'm going to mount it right about here. We'll find out how this goes. So I did have to move the wires in the foam. Controller's right there. We're plugged in and foamed up. Winnebago left a big gaping hole right there. So hopefully, I mean I know we're plugged in, so if I just turn the fan on. There's the fan. So if I turn on the AC, we'll see how this works. Well, nice cold air coming out right here. Shame it got rain on the inside when I was doing this seal, but I think this is gonna work. Well, I've had the Furrion running for about 2 hours. We're doing really well. I mean, it's a beautiful day outside, but it's pretty cold. It's working really well. It's a lot quieter than the Coleman's, I think. And this was a customer request. I don't know if even the old one was bad or not, but there's a 2003, so he wanted to upgrade the AC while he was doing this. And I said, okay, we gave that a shot. So it's a Furrion. It's a big company. A lot of manufacturers have been using those Furrion AC for a while now, and I haven't had to fix a single one of them or even worked on them. So I assume they're pretty good. We'll find out. The skylight still hasn't made it in yet. Winnebago's second day air is sometimes 1 week air. So the last thing we're doing is just the roof radius seal, the whole thing that got us started on this, right? Because without that seal, that seal that was in there before deteriorated and the roof came loose and tore on both sides. So we got to make sure we have it glued down. I have a lot of videos on it. Basically, you're going to be injecting the sealant down in between the phylon and the molding. And we want to get it down in there so that it will ooze out. We don't want just a cap seal on top. We want to make sure that this is actually way down in there and actually gluing that roof edge down. So now when I do that, you can see it's spread up in there. So we're definitely getting a lot of good coverage in there. All right, guys, with that, this job is done. We got it sealed over here and sealed on this side. So now if I were to push on the radius, you can see I can't push it open very much, and it still hasn't even cured yet. So now it's glued down front to back. Now we have a brand new roof. All right, guys, it finally happened. I've been waiting a week for a second day air ordered skylight. The one that was on there wasn't broken or leaking, but it was really, really brittle. So if I would have just flexed it, I could hear the whole thing cracking. See if you can hear it. Did you hear it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's the crack right there. I preferred not to put something that might leak on a brand new roof. Winnebago makes their own skylights, and so they have a market cornered on this thing. Doesn't look like $600, but apparently it is. And that's not even And that doesn't include the second day air shipping charges. I can't. I don't understand. Alright, so we're just going to be doing lap sealant right here. This goes on just like Dicor, except it's silicone and not acrylic. And I'll just go ahead and try to keep water from pooling in between these vents by filling it up with a little bit extra love. Alright, done frosting the cake here. And it's installed. And luckily, everything else is installed now. So this job is actually done. So took a lot longer than I wanted it to this time. I won't always blame inclement weather or shipping or parts availability, but I will when I can. Alright guys, let's get this thing backed up and we'll go over it. Alright guys, so we did a 2004 Itasca Sunova, which is just a rebadged Winnebago sightseer. My favorite Class A motorhomes, to be honest. I do love these things. I didn't do a complete in-depth of the repairs on this, but what did we do? We changed out the roof. The roof had delaminated on the side, broken the radiuses, and needed to be replaced. We'll get up there in a second, take a look at it, but we did a few other upgrades while we were at it. So one of the first things we did was change out the vents from the factory and change them to the Max Air Deluxe. So this one actually has a remote. It'll open up the vent. I like these because the vent lid itself is the vent cover, so you don't have to worry about things getting trapped in it. We did the exact same thing back here in the bathroom with that one. Now the other thing that the owner wanted that I didn't cover too much in depth was a new AC. So he had a Coleman Mach 3. So 2004, it's 2021. So let me do the math real fast. 17 years, I don't like that. So they figured if we're doing this, might as well change out the roof AC. So we did put a new Furrion Cool Breeze, or what, Cool Chilly, what do they call them? The Furrion oversized roof ACs. By all accounts, they've been doing really well. They're quieter, use less power, and they're lighter. And they have a conversion kit, so I didn't even have to change the plenum or even the thermostat, still the Coleman thermostat. So we'll take a look at that on the roof too. It did have that roof gasket issue that I wasn't too happy about, so I put a new roof gasket on. But I think that's pretty much everything on the outside. Let's go ahead and go down the roof. All right, so there it is, the big reveal in the sun. So you can't see any imperfections because it's too bright. We did change out the skylight because that skylight was cracking too much. And whenever I do a roof anyways, I like to change out all the components that I can, including sewer vents. So right here, you should be able to see the new vents we put on for the Max Air, or the Max Fan Deluxe. This is the vent lid in the down position. And this is what it looks like in the up position. So you can keep it up driving down the road or in the rain. So you don't have those big Max vent covers that you have to clean up every once in a while. There's the new Furrion Chill roof AC. Now Furrion itself is a pretty big name in the RV industry now, and they make pretty good components. On the roof itself, we use self-leveling silicone sealant. That's what Winnebago uses. It is a high quality sealant. And on the sides right here, we use the ProFlex from GeoSeal. It's the clear stuff. And again, this is the stuff that this is the seal that you need to check at least once a year to make sure that the roof radius is not loose. That'll keep the problem that we had on this roof from happening again. We can go ahead and go up front. Now Winnebago doesn't put a lap seal all the time on this front cap. I still like to put that on. Remember, we did have an issue with water intrusion here. I put those screws like I normally do on the side caps because Winnebago's method with some epoxied on brackets that get screwed on the inside never holds. So these screws is what Winnebago's gone to anyways on all their new stuff. But there it is, one last reveal at it. So there you have it guys, a new roof, a few little upgrades on a 2004 Itasca Sunova. It wasn't too bad of a job. Just got way too much rain here and it kept slowing me down. But I guess I did get to leak test it pretty well. There's going to be the Phylon roof material that Winnebago uses. Again, I did not do a complete and total repair video on this, just showing you the updates and how we did and what we made out and what we ran into. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I hope that... Tell you what, I will put links to some of those components in the description if you want to get those vents or the AC or that conversion kit for the AC. Even with the... Because even right now, Coleman, RVP, Dometic ACs are still getting hard to find, but the Furrions seem to be in stock pretty well. So that could help out anybody that needs to do that, and you won't have to worry about changing out the plenum or the thermostat. At any rate, guys, I really appreciate you watching, and enjoy yourself. All right, from that one to another one. Seems never ending with these things. Well, that delamination on the radiuses is not great, and it does affect the strength of the roof a little bit. I didn't feel any soft spots on the roof. If the roof hadn't been torn and fallen apart, I probably would have still maybe said, you might be good for a couple more years. Don't put a new roof on. But he really wanted to put a new roof on, and we're gonna put a new roof on. I mean, I guess my roof's getting a good leak test. Point out, we did put some covers right there to catch our dirt and the glue when we put this down, so we're not making a mess inside. I mean, like, seriously, it's been raining almost non-stop for 2 weeks. This is insane. Well, I've had the Furrion conversion right in